right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today is a special day because we have a special guest lined up with us. And it's also special because we have a new time slot. People are not used to probably catching us in the evening. So there might be a few less people than normal, especially if there's people watching the baseball game tonight. I know that there's probably a lot of baseball fans out there. Luckily, my guest is not, so I'm going to introduce you to David here. Hey, David, thank you for joining us today.
Hello there.
We're gonna be sharing the screen. So David has been joining us for a while on the show. And we ran a contest a little while ago just for anybody that wanted to participate in the live show. And David made a video and we basically communicated, and here he is. So welcome, David. Nice to see you.
Thank you, and thanks
And
for not making the bar to entry too high to be a guest on your show, Tony.
no. Everybody's welcome. I've been trying to get more people on the show, but it's very difficult time-wise because people are, tuning in from all over the world,
Mm.
and a few other people that were slotted to join us today. Shane wanted to be on the show as well, but he's in Japan, and we had Vinny as well, and I didn't hear from Vinny. Maybe he's out watching the baseball game or something. But nonetheless, we're here, and that's what matters. So let's say hi to everybody that's here and see if there's a few new faces since we're not in the regular time slot. So and again, the I noticed that everybody has their name is popping up different. Like Cushman is Cushman NYC now, and Wayne is here, and your name is different, Wayne, today. So it's like I'm seeing your names for the first time, but I recognize most of you guys. Here's Dr. Kramer is here, Cushman is here, Vox is here, and let's see who else. Mean Gene Cali.
Mm.
Let's see, MFN. He says I was getting ready to watch the World Series and discovered you're on. So, like I told you, David, a
More
lot of people
excited.
are going to be watching the game tonight.
Yeah.
So how about you guys keep us up to date on the actual score once they start once action starts happening? Let us know what the score is so we can keep everybody updated on the game as well. People that are baseball fans. We have Jean Pierre over here today too, and Jean Pierre says welcome to the show, David. And searching for Tone is here as well. So that's good Sunday. It says good Sunday morning, everyone. Scratch that Saturday night. Yep, it's a little difficult for me too, guys. I'm not used to the evening slot, but it's all good. So, David, welcome. Why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit, David? Like, tell the boys. I mean, most people might know who you are because you've been here before.
Hmm.
Just give us a little rundown in terms of whatever you want to tell the boys.
Hi, everybody. My name is David. I've been following Tony for probably a year or two now. Uh, he actually taught me how to put the neck properly on this guitar over here. So thanks a lot, Tony.
My pleasure.
So when I was a teenager in my early 20s, I was in a band. Then when I went back to school, I played less. Then when I started working, I played less. And then when I got married, started having kids, I played less. But a few years ago, my family gave me this Squire Bullet Stratocaster, and that got me back into playing every day. Now the kids are older; they can mostly take care of themselves, and I've got a little bit more time on my hands. So I'm here to represent the people that don't have a lot of gear. I still keep up on everything. I just don't buy most of it. So I have my Squire Bullet Strat here.
And that's a nice. It's a nice because it does have the blackout hardware too, right? It's the bridge is
Yeah, it's got
black
the
and
blackout hardware. It's a hardtail, which I actually, even though I didn't pick it, I actually prefer it. Um, and it used to have this black pick guard. It was kind of all blacked out, but I replaced it with this kind of tortoise
the
shell.
tortoise shell looks nice. Yeah.
And this was kind of my experiment on is Chinese manufacturing really that good? And I picked it up, and I learned that yes, it is, but their QA may still be a bit off, because when I got it, the neck wasn't all the way in the pocket.
Right.
And I was like doing adjustments, and I raised up the bridge till it almost looked like a cello.
Yeah.
I was like, no, there's a problem. And then I
Yeah.
saw the
Yeah.
huge gap in the back, and that's when I learned how to
eh,
put it on properly. So
Yeah. So you got that fixed. Now it's good. It plays well.
yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it plays super well now. That Seymour Duncan came out with that Tully-sized JB. I'm thinking about putting a humbucker in the bridge.
So a humbucker in the bridge position.
Yeah. So as I've been playing, and I've been going to like the guitar stores and
Yeah.
playing a lot of different kinds of guitars, I've kind of, if I do get something else next, I'm starting to get a really good idea of what that is. And I think it's kind of I like the Telly shape, but I want a humbucker in the bridge and a single coil in the neck, which is kind of opposite the way they come mostly.
So that's going to be. I think you mentioned it last week or a couple of weeks back. I think.
Yep.
I remember you mentioned that. So those are really cool. But I know for a fact, like you're going to need. They're not that many Telecaster manufacturers make them, because you do have to change the bridge on the Telecaster to like a mini bridge, because the bridge has a big plate, right? So either you have
Yeah.
to get a plate that has a hole in it for the humbucker, or they do sell these smaller bridges that you can use as well.
Yeah. Yeah. There's this one I saw. I think it was like a Guitar Center exclusive. It was an Affinity Telly, but with like two humbuckers,
Hmm.
and it was the smaller bridge, and then the two plastic
Right,
surrounds around
right,
the
right, right.
humbuckers. And I was like, oh, I could. That's pretty affordable. I could get that and swap out the neck humbucker for a single coil
That's
that's
right.
like humbucker size.
Yep.
So I might do that. I've been looking at the Mustang too
Hmm.
lately,
Yeah.
which is for me, it's easier to justify because it's a different scale length. So
Right.
it's a little bit more different than what I already have. But that's another one that comes with two humbuckers and be pretty easy to swap it out.
There's so much you can do with Telecasters. I find, I mean, you can go
Mm.
the P90 route. You can get a humbucker in the bridge and regular single coil in the humbucker in the neck, single coil in the bridge, and you can swap them around. Two humbuckers. I like. At one point, I was considering getting a Telecaster with two humbuckers, but I'm like what's the point in that? Like it's. I have a lot of guitars that do have two humbuckers already, so it's like. But I do like the Telecaster shape, and I've been getting into Telecasters a lot lately. So it was just one of
Yeah,
those things.
it's weird, isn't it? Like you're just kind of drawn. I guess it's just sorry about the dog. I guess it's
That's
just
good.
personal preference, right? Um,
It's what you don't have, right? You just to fill in that. He's like, I don't have one like that, so I'm gonna get one. You know.
yeah, yeah, that too. This one's gold. I was thinking about getting another one. Then it was silver, and then you could have like Goldie and Tina,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of a nice bookend set. But not yet.
It's funny because I was looking at possibly building. I build a lot of my own guitars, and I was thinking of doing like a gold a gold top version of a Telecaster as well, because you can get gold top Les Paul style guitars, but I never had like a gold. Yeah, exactly like that one.
Yeah.
Put it in a little closer to the other side so I can see the body. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's something like that is what I wanted to put together myself. So if this one has the nice arm carve as well,
It's got the arm carve.
which is
It's
comfortable.
it's got the
Yeah, I like
belly
it,
carve.
and the and also the
It's
yeah,
got a little
that's
carve
that's
here
nice.
where your hand goes, and here that it goes a little bit
Yeah,
deeper.
yeah,
Stainless steel frets,
I like it.
um, and it works really well. I've upgraded the the pickups in this because the set that it came with, I suspect they weren't wax potted because they were super noisy when
Mm-hmm.
when you'd just be sort of muting the
Yeah,
strings, hitting it.
but
So
that's an easy fix.
yeah, it was an easy fix. So now it plays great. Although it's still, I don't know, I'm still not super convinced by the bridge, the Telecaster bridge. That's why I'm kind of thinking about getting
Okay,
a
so
humbucker next time.
is this your first? Is that your only Telecaster? So that's you don't have you
Yeah,
have you tried other Telecaster bridge pickups?
only like a guitar store setting, so only
Okay,
a few
okay,
minutes at a time.
okay.
Why are they
Uh,
different?
yeah, Yeah, you can get a lot of different sounds. Um, can I just see the headstock on that guitar one more time? I just wanted to see how it was laid out. Just because I like the body a lot. Yeah. So
Duckbill.
duckbill. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a nice and even has nice tuners too. Those I'm familiar with those tuners. I have a couple of guitars that have similar. They're pretty smooth.
Yeah, I think these are kind of the same tuners that EART uses.
Yep.
Kind of the same shape on the end. Yeah, these tuners are actually better than the ones on my Bullet. They stay in tune way better.
So how heavy is that guitar roughly? Do you know?
Roughly, I don't know, but it's pretty hefty. It's mahogany body
Okay.
and a maple neck, and there's no weight really for anything. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
pretty hefty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like I like the gold, and I like the carves on that body. But if I
Mhm.
would get one, I would try and get one that is lighter because I really like the light bodies, and it makes a big difference when you're playing standing up for a long time. Even though the mahogany has a nice tone to it. The
Mhm.
I have a couple of Telecasters that I built, and they're monsters when it comes to the weight. And although they're nice, I can't play them that much. And I have some other ones here that are extremely light and they're really, really nice to play. I have
Where's
a
um, that candy apple one with the
Yeah,
binding on it?
yeah.
Is that heavier or lighter?
That's not heavy. No,
Okay.
that's the one that I built. It's probably back here. Yeah, it's in the rack. You can't really see it, but it's kind of like right in back of the there's this you can't see it at your angle, but it's back there. That's one that I built with a body that I got from Guitar Fetish.
Yeah, I like that one. I
Yeah,
like
and
that guitar
and, and
a
it
lot.
turned out really well because I've tried building guitars, with various parts before, and it's hit or miss because sometimes the fit and finish, you might get a body from one company and a neck from another company and try and put them together. They're not always compatible 100%. Like
Mm.
sometimes you'll have the neck pocket might be just a little bit too wide, and then when you put in another neck in there, it just might not fit properly, or sometimes a little bit deeper. There's a little bit of MacGyvering that you need to do once you're at that
Yeah,
stage.
this is actually my second replacement pick guard, and for both the replacement pick guards, I had to do a little trimming around the bridge because it wasn't laying flat.
Right.
And on this one, when I got new pickups, the bridge plate came with it, but the holes didn't line up with the old bridge plate versus that new bridge plate. So
Yeah.
I had to just get parts from the old one and use that with the new pickups, which
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah. There's always little things like that people don't consider when sometimes they're like, oh, I'm gonna put something together. You have to be ready for anything because you never know. I don't like making, especially if the body's really nice. I don't like making multiple holes when I put in different pick guards. So
Oh yeah,
sometimes
no,
and they never line up. Every company makes them slightly different. So
yeah.
you have to get really lucky to get everything to line up. So I try and get, if I can, I try and buy pick guards that don't have holes in them because there are companies that sell them, and then you can make your own. Just use the old pick guard and just mark the holes and just drill them, and everything fits nice.
But when you got that guitar from Guitar Fetish, it didn't have pre-drilled pick guard holes, right?
No,
For the bridge, yes, but not for the pick guard.
not for the pick guard. No,
Okay,
no.
that's
So that
doable.
yeah. So then I decided to put what pick guard I would put on there. But if you put in the first one, you're gonna have to make the holes. But if ever you decide to change it, chances are it's not gonna be the same holes. So let's see what the boys are talking about here. So Cushman says Telecasters rule. I agree. I love Telecasters. Um, let's see here. And Casey Lee says, I'm building a large flake silver sparkle Telecaster for
Mm.
a Don Rich vibe. I've seen some of those, Casey, with the big sparkles. They look pretty cool. I don't like. I've never really seen one up close. I've only seen them in photographs. They look really nice. Some of them. Uh, I had played at one point. I had played a Telecaster. what is the it was a Fender Telecaster that was a signature series. I forget the artist's name now. I'm drawing a blank. He's a like a country artist, but it's his guitars. It's Silver Flake, and I picked up that Telecaster. It was so light. I thought it was made of balsa wood. It was really crazy, like crazy light, but it was really like fun to play because it was so light. I have another guitar like that that I purchased off of on a whim. I think I purchased it off Amazon or something like that. And the body is made out of a wood that is extremely light. It's almost like it's my lightest guitar. I think it's with hardware and everything. It's like a little over 4 pounds, which is like yeah, it's really crazy light. So I thought, I wouldn't get good tone from it because the body is so light, but it plays great. In terms of tone, it's fantastic. Just that the pickups that came with it were not very good. So I'm gonna use it for some other build. I'll just, you know, you take the parts off and build something else with it.
Yeah, I guess so. Sound travels more through a solid, right? So if it's denser, the sound should travel through more. Although that's sound, not necessarily vibration.
Yeah, but it depends. I mean, a lot of people, there's a lot of debate over tone woods and what's better and what sounds better. I don't know. I mean, I think a large part of it is really like it's the sum of all the parts. Like definitely the body will influence the sound, but it's not just the wood. It's the
I mean,
wood, it's the bridge, it's the
yeah,
hardware, the string.
especially the
Hmm.
stage that I'm at, I could play my 1974 Gibson SG, and then I could play this $200 T style, and it's going to sound the same because that's where I'm at. It's not the tone width that's holding me back.
No. Well, you know what? As long as it inspires you to play, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much the guitar costs, but if it inspires you to play and you can play easy on it, that's what's the most important thing. And it's amazing to me too. Sometimes I'll just, I have quite a few, and I've come to learn over time that just because a guitar is inexpensive doesn't necessarily make it a bad guitar. I have
No,
some other guitars that are hanging off. You can't really see them; they're on the wall here, and they're very budget-friendly guitars, but they play great and they sound great. Even if you might not get along with maybe the pickups or something like that, an easy swap. This is why getting back to your Telecaster there, there's a couple of things that you can try. I mean, I really like the Tex-Mex pickups
mm,
in one of the Telecasters that I have. It's more bitey. It has a bit more bite to it. Sounds really nice. They also have humbuckers that are single coil size, right? So you can
yep,
actually, without necessarily having to chop up your guitar or anything like that, if you wanted to, you can, if you have a Telecaster, you can easily put in a stacked
and get the hot,
humbucker.
yeah, or the hot rails,
The
or
hot rails too, yeah.
that new one from Seymour Duncan. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, does the twang come from being in the bridge, or does it come from the bridge plate? I
I,
guess if I were to swap out, I'd find out.
I think it's a combination of both. You
Mm,
also on the Telecasters they have the bottom plate. I don't know
yep.
if you ever look at the Telecaster pickups, you
Yeah,
pull them out. You'll see they have a bottom plate glued to the bottom of the pickups. That also influences the sound quite a
yeah.
bit.
Actually, with the newer set of pickups, it did have bottom plate, and when I took out the original set, it didn't.
Okay, yeah, and
Yeah.
sometimes they don't. Some brands might not have it, but like the Fenders and the aftermarket Seymour Duncans and all of they usually do. So that definitely affects the sound. Let's see. We had somebody's asking a question. He says, "Just ceramic coated one of my guitars as a project. Anyone else done this? Ceramic coated? You mean
Like a
like
car?
like a car? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I never tried that, but hey, the finish on guitars is very similar to the finish on cars. So maybe you're onto something there. I
There's
never.
some car colors that I would love to have on a guitar.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of them really. Well, in the old days, right? Like Fender and Leo Fender would just take the popular car colors of the year. It could have been Ford or whatever, and he would use that most of the time. So, there's a really nice colors now. So,
Yeah, I think I've seen some Chevy Bel Airs that are like surf green and
yep,
California blue for
yep.
sure.
Now I find the trend is with the cars is all these non-colors where they're kind of in between colors. Like I just got a Ford Mach-E, which is an electric car, and the color is gray, but it's a strange gray because it's not. It's like an in between gray. It's not like
Oh yeah,
it's hard to like pinpoint what it is exactly. It's always like gray mixed with another color.
yeah. It always looks like a battleship that just came out of the water or something like that.
Kind of,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's a chameleon because it'll flip flop depending on if it's reflecting the blue sky or if it's reflecting something else. It's a interesting color, but
I kind of miss colors on cars. Sorry to go off topic, but I kind of miss every time I see a car that's like a bright color. I always kind of zoom in on it, and I'm like, yeah, that looks nice.
yeah, there's
And
some gorgeous cars.
of course, my car's gray, so who am
Uh,
I to talk?
there you go. So Casey Lee is saying he suggests a chopper T in the bridge as a pickup. I don't know if you're familiar with that particular model, but I've heard of the chopper T, Casey. I've never actually had one in any of my guitars, but a lot of people do like the sound that it offers as well.
So that's kind of a humbucker that's single coil sized.
I believe that's just I don't know if that's the humbucker version or just the hotter
Oh, okay,
Telecaster.
okay.
I'm not really sure. There's a couple of different models I had looked at back in the day. And Cushman is saying, check out the Richie Kotzen's DiMarzio Telecaster Humbucker. DiMarzio Telecaster Humbucker. There's definitely a lot of choice out there, David, in terms of what you can go and put in your guitars when it comes to pickups. So
Yeah,
uh, it's a little bit of a rabbit hole because once you start going down that route,
yeah.
you know, and it's very difficult if you want to try and get, um, you know, make a buying decision off of YouTube videos. It's so difficult because depending
Mm.
on how they're recording it and what people are playing it through, you can make a pickup sound very, very different. I've been disappointed many times when I listen to somebody and like, oh, that pickup sounds really good, but it's the way it was processed too. So when you get
There's
it,
so much. I mean,
hmm
especially if you're watching a video on YouTube or
that's what,
anywhere, there's so much
yeah,
in between that pickup and your
yep,
ears.
yep.
Uh, it's difficult. I mean,
It's a
the only
shot in
way
the
is to hear it
dark.
live. Yeah.
It's very difficult. Like right now, I'm playing through my FM9, and I'll have a certain patch. This is the patch is called Satch Amp, which is a Joe Satriani type patch, which will sound completely different if I put in another patch. So you wouldn't be able to tell what the pickups actually sound like if you were just listening to it through this patch.
Mm.
Switch it to something and it'll sound completely different. So I always recommend people try the guitars, go to your music center, try them if you can. But that's getting difficult too because so many stores are no longer carrying that much inventory. So,
The nice thing about Guitar Center, anyways, um, they have amps set up. They have cables laying around. You can grab stuff off the wall and just play it.
hmm
That's really nice. I mean, I remember even just a few years ago, they didn't like that idea too much, but now they seem better with it.
there used to be a very small music store in my area. It's gone many years ago, and they had the right idea. What they had sound booths set up.
Mm.
They had a bunch of sound booths with a sliding glass door. So you would go in there and you would say, I'd like to try that guitar or that amplifier or whatever. They would bring it to you, put it in the soundproof booth, close the sliding door, and let you play it like as loud as you wanted, and just have fun. And then that's how you really get to hear. If if you like or you're bonding with the amplifier, you can't really play an amplifier at low volumes and expect to like know whether or not it's going to be able to do it for you, especially if it's a tube amp that needs to be cranked. So I thought that was great, but unfortunately they're no longer there, no longer in business.
Yeah. Lately, I've been paying a lot of attention to the neck because I have this, which is a 9.5 inch, which I like a lot. This one's 12, I think, which I like a little bit less. So now I'm paying attention to that when I go out there.
Hmm.
Uh, so even now, after playing this thing for so long, the Les Pauls feel a bit wide.
Yeah, every time I pick up another guitar, it's always gonna be different. Like I took this one out of the case today. I haven't played this one in a while, and it's like, oh yeah, it's this. I remember that this neck is a little bit fatter than the other ones, but after a couple of minutes, it's you kind of get used to it again. So
Yeah, although it's pretty good. Sometimes I'll just practice my scales on this one, and then I'll play on this one, and it's like, ooh, that's easy.
makes it easy.
Yeah.
It's right. It's true.
Oh,
Exactly true.
I can stretch these chords out. Oh,
Right,
yeah.
right, right. Exactly. So it's good. It's kind of like it's like that Rocky scene when he makes him chase the chicken, try to catch the chicken in the alley. He's like, why am I doing this? I feel like an idiot. It's training. It'll make you quicker.
Yeah. I,
Let's see here. We got a couple of questions, or so so yeah he so regarding the ceramic coating, he says, yes, I polished like I would with a car, then clay bar and put it on a ceramic coat. It makes fingerprints not show up, especially ESP, sorry, Eclipse, Floyd Rose, Reindeer Blue, Quilted Maple. Looks wild. Well, I learned something new. I
and if a
never
bug hit
tried.
and if a bug hits it, it won't stick.
Exactly. And if you wash it with water, the water will just will just it'll just right roll right off the paint. I don't recommend you wash your guitar with water, but it's
Yeah,
interesting
no.
that he mentions that, because I've been actually watching a few videos regarding like clay barring your car, and how to polish, and the ceramic coat, and what type of ceramic coats are better than others. So they claim that the ceramic coating in the glass bottles are the real deal. If you're getting it in a
Huh.
plastic bottle, they say it's not as good. I don't know if that's true or not, but never tried it on a guitar. But hey, I might have to do it just for experimental purposes here. Um, so NFM says Game 7 World Series on the basement TV with a cocktail and Addicted to Gear on the phone. How could life be better? So NFM, you're going to tell us what the score is, right? Somebody's got to keep us up to date with the score, because it's important. It's an important game. Casey Lee says the Chopper 2 is a two-blade single coil size pickup, very hot. So it's kind of like the Hot Rails, I guess.
Yeah, I looked at those. I don't know if I want to go super hot because I don't want to the bridge and the neck to be completely unbalanced, like volume wise. So I would tend. I saw this one hot rail that was like, I think they call it like vintage voiced. It was like below 10K, and I would go with something like that.
I agree with you. It's very difficult to get a good match, especially on a Telecaster. I'm gonna say, if you're going with a humbucker, and then you're keeping a single coil as the other option. Uh, I've had issues even with like other guitars. Like my Sir had a humbucker in the bridge, two single coils, and the humbucker sounded really good. The single coil sounded really good, but when you would switch between, it was just doing something like it didn't blend. It was like you were
Mm.
almost like shifting from first to third, and skipping second. So it's kind of weird. I didn't really like it all that much, and then I just decided to put two humbuckers in it. And it's hard because you're going from you know different values, different outputs, and
Yeah,
also with the pots, they don't react the same way with humbuckers and single coils. So like humbuckers usually use 500K pots, single coils will use 250. So
50.
if you're sharing the same pots, you kind of have to get an in between value to make it work with both. So there's
Yeah.
that. Some people forget about that and wonder why it's not sounding good.
Yeah. If you check the math, like when you have a parallel circuit, one of them is going to get buried if
Mm-hmm.
the other one's really, really big.
Yep.
So I'd want them to be balanced out.
It
Me
makes more
personally.
sense. It's
By the way, I'm an electrical engineer, which is why
there you go.
uh,
Okay.
I talk about analog to digital converters
Right.
and
You know your
digital to analog
stuff.
converters. Yeah, yeah, I did all that in school. Electronics. So potentiometers, fine. Electromagnetics, fine. Sound processing, no problem. The project I had in my last year was we had to code. It was going through this like DSP, signal processing development board, and I had to code a delay and a 3-band graphic EQ,
Wow.
and uh, and then we got extra points if we could do a flange.
Cool. That's a cool project.
And then we did it. The flange, we never got the flange to sound right. Like the delay was fine. We were playing Pink Floyd there in the lab. The flange never quite sounded right, but the TA had no idea what the flange was supposed to sound like.
Right.
So when we say, "Oh, we have the flanger too, listen to this," and we played it, and it was just like it almost sounded like two rotating cabinets on top
Uh-huh.
of each other.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Yeah, that's good." We got the extra
Okay.
points.
Perfect. So but that was just for school, or was that for something else? Was that like a
That was
different
for school. That was for
for
school.
school?
The-
Okay. Well,
yeah.
that's cool. Well, where were you, David, when I was trying to build my own amplifier? I put together the small Princeton that I have behind me, which was built from a kit, and I have never done that before.
The
And
the soldering or the just the amp building.
well, soldering I have done on my guitars,
Yeah.
but as far as tackling an amp build, I never
Yeah.
did that before. Like I had no clue if I was going to electrocute myself or not doing all of
Oh
that.
yeah, you got to be careful with those amps. Sometimes those caps get pretty big,
Yeah,
and even if the amp's off, if you still bridge them,
yeah, you can
it'll
get into trouble.
still give you a
So
spasm.
yeah, absolutely. But I did it and it works, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's all hand wired, and I took my time with it. It's challenging though, because one mistake, and then good luck trying to find where the mistake is. But it seemed to have worked. So I have to say the kits that Stu Max sells, if ever you're interested in building, since you do have experience in electronics and you probably
Mm.
know more than I do in terms of how to find your way around, um, it's a good. They really make really nice kits. But I heard that they were going to discontinue them because at one point I wanted to build another one, and they were saying that they weren't available. They were out of stock, and they were going to probably discontinue them. That's unfortunate.
There's this place in Los Angeles that has called Fazio Electric. They have a YouTube channel, and they'll have like build your own guitar amp weekends
That's
where
cool.
the owners show up and they bring kits for everybody. And
Yeah,
over the course of the weekend, you build it. And the cool thing is they help you troubleshoot it if you
yeah,
run into a problem.
yeah. I'd love to do that. They don't do that here, unfortunately, where I am. But I'd love to do that. I know that a few amp builders, even I don't know if you're familiar with Egnator amplifiers. Have you heard
I've
of?
heard the name. Yeah.
Okay, so Bruce Egnator was the man behind the company, and he had quite a few really nice amplifiers. I had one at one point, which was called the Renegade. And what's really cool is like it would be a two-channel amplifier, and you'd be able to switch. You'd be able to. It didn't have only one type of tube in it, so it would have, let's say, an EL34 and a 6L6, and
Oh,
you'd be able to blend what you wanted so you could have one channel with the L34s and the other one blend into the other tubes. Uh, and I don't know if there was that many people doing that at the time, but they were nice amplifiers, and he was pretty well known in the industry. And at the end of the day, in his neck of the woods in the States, he would often have like these sessions like you're talking about, where you'd be able to, you pay a fee, or you buy the amplifier or whatever it is, and
Mm.
then you build it with him. And he had a couple of like Marshall like clones, so you would build yourself like a Marshall head. Um, it probably was like a JCM 800 knockoff or something like that, but they sounded really good, and that's something I would have liked to have the
The
opportunity to do.
the distortion pedal I have, which is the distortion pedal I bought in like, I don't know, 92, um, is the Boss pedal. It's an overdrive and distortion, and you can blend in between the two,
Hmm.
which I quite liked. Although I've never met anyone else that has the same thing. Usually
Yeah,
people pick a side.
yeah. That's what I'm really interested in right now is, and I know there's a company that does make this. I think Steve Stevens actually has uses one of these. It's a distortion pedal that has an integrated EQ in it. So it's a
Mm.
distortion box, but it's got a like a 5 band EQ built into it. So you can actually tailor the distortion sound right in the same box, and they're very expensive. The one that he has, I'm just waiting for somebody to make a knockoff, build like a build your own clone version, and some of them are quite good. I've built a couple of pedals over the years as well, just for giggles, and it's a lot of fun to do as well. So you can
Can
get
you
a
imagine if the guy that makes the clones, Finnegan, if he's like, "Oh, I'm hosting a weekend of build your own clone
yeah,
under my direction."
it'd be sold out probably, right?
No kidding. But he could blow through that waiting list pretty quick.
I think that waiting list is on purpose. That's my opinion on that. I think it's just driving up demand.
Yeah. Well, it's still just the one guy, but he could do that easily. I mean, there's like high-end watches kind of do that. The same
Of
thing too.
course, of
Yeah,
course, of course.
they
Look,
don't stock the store and tell you that, oh, it's hard to get.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, with all the Behringer stuff that happened, I was amazed that I thought for sure, Behringer was gonna have to like cease and desist. He was gonna win and all that stuff, and it went the other way. Who would have thought that they would have been able to continue to make the knockoffs just with some minor tweaks?
I
Uh,
think whoever I don't think they're done with the first run yet. I've seen a couple of videos of guys who order that, with the newer name, but they still get the original pedal
yeah.
with the old name on it. And I think they'll use up, they're not going to toss all
Oh
the
no,
units that they made
I don't
into
think
the
so.
trash. They're going to sell those.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Once
sure they
those
will.
sell, then we'll see the new name. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was gutsy move. Gutsy move
Well,
on
I mean,
Behringer's.
I don't see the big deal though, because who's going to be fooled? Like it's still a Behringer pedal. Like it's a Behringer pedal. Nobody's going to think it's a clone. I mean, they're not the same. You can tell. So it's not like it's a one-to-one knockoff. If they were doing that, like for example, Seriatone, he's making a point-to-point hand-built clones of the clone. I don't know if you're familiar with Seriatone or not, but he makes really good stuff. I have one of those, and it's a great, it's pretty much a one-to-one clone, and that's a lot more similar to the original. The
Mm.
box is the same size, same color, same everything, except for the logo. But I haven't heard of him getting harassed at all. So I don't know. I think these guys are kind of like they've come up with an agreement or something. Like, okay, Behringer probably said, we'll give you whatever, a couple of bucks
Yeah, yeah.
for everyone that we sell, and he's like, okay, that's fine as long as you don't use the same name.
Yeah, and then maybe too, like you're not going to sue some other small company. Like they probably don't have money anyways. So,
Exactly.
but
Behringer
Behringer, on the
does.
other hand, is a
They do.
huge
Yeah,
company.
a lot of people don't realize how big they are. They're huge. So they're not suffering like some of the other small companies out there.
No, so that's they've got a bigger target on their backs, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. So I don't want to ignore everybody here. If you guys have questions, don't let us hog the airwaves here. We're talking amongst ourselves, but please jump in if you have any comments or questions, or if you want to talk about anything in the news. If you picked up some new gear and you want to talk about that, that's always I always like to know what you guys are doing
Mhm.
in terms of gear and any gear related questions. So searching for tone says Mojo Tone does a traveling one, and I think he's talking about the build your own amplifier that we were talking about earlier. Mojo Tone, actually, the if I'm not mistaken, the amp kits that you can buy from Stumac are Mojo Tone kits. They're actually just rebranded Stumac. Most of the stuff that Stumac sells is from another company. It's just rebranded Stumac. So you can, if you're
Oh,
careful, you can actually, like, if you find something that they sell, you can probably find the original manufacturer and buy directly from them. Just saying. I don't think they make anything themselves. It's all rebranded stuff.
huh.
Somebody was asking, where's Shane? Where's Fat Philosopher, aka Shane? I invited Shane. He was supposed to be on when we were originally going to have the show last week, and apparently he wasn't available. He said, unfortunately, he wasn't going to be able to make it. So we'll probably get him on the show at some other point. Rex has a question. Says, have either of you played a Godin Dorchester? I just changed strings and set it up. Really interesting guitar. Reminds me a little of a Rickenbacker. Hoping to feature it on upcoming episodes. Um, I'm embarrassed to say, Rex, and I mentioned this a couple of times already, I should be an ambassador for Godin since they're made in my province, in Quebec, or close to it. They're actually not far. But I've never owned a Godin guitar. I know a lot of people who have and really like them. I've played them in stores and they do play really, really nice, but I haven't played the Dorchester. I've played the Godin Montreal, which is almost like a jazz box guitar. It's really nice. And a couple of other models that they have, but not the Dorchester.
I also feel like a bad Quebecer. I've never played a Godin guitar either. I think my brother might have one, or he might have had one for a while. I really like the Radium.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of this super strat with
Yeah.
HSS configuration on it. It just looks amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I'm going for all these kind of nuclear. There's the GNL Fallout that I've been looking at too, because that has a humbucker in the bridge and a single in the neck too,
Right. Right.
and those are the only two. And I've been looking at that one too.
I really like GNL guitars, and the cool thing about them is that you can, even the ones that are made overseas, they still play really, really nice.
Yeah.
I had a GNL Strat when they first came out, which was USA made, when Leo Fender had just like split from Fender and had returned to making his own guitars, and that one was like pretty much handmade because it even had the little birthmarks on it, which basically they're little pinholes that they use to when they route the body of the guitar on the equipment, since
Mm.
it's not CNC. It's sometimes they use different machines to like copy the template. They make these little holes in the body to hold it in place while they do that. That one had it, and it was a really, really nice guitar. I regret selling it. I don't know why I sold that one. It was sometimes we make bad decisions. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
When I left home, I sold my Marshall tube amp, which was very sad. And I had a Super Chorus.
Oh yeah,
I think I sold my wah pedal too. So when I was in the band, that's all I had was wah pedal, distortion, and chorus. That's it. That's what went into the amp.
yeah. So are you a more of a Marshall guy or more of a Fender guy? What camp do you fall in terms of preference of tone?
When I was when I was younger, I would have called myself a Marshall guy, flat out. Now, I don't know. I like I kind of like having this really nice clean lately. And then if you want to push that, you just put a pedal in front of it,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
to the races.
yeah.
So I think lately I've been gravitating a little bit more towards the. I mean, they're all virtual, but the Fender kind. Although the one amp I do have is a Pro Junior, is a Fender Pro Junior.
I always say that for me, I do like the Marshall tone, but I like having Marshalls that you can still get a clean sound out of them. Because
Hmm.
if you can't get a clean sound, you're kind of stuck. And of the ones that I have, like even the reissue Studio Vintage that I have there. Um, I say reissue just because they tried to make it sound like an older Marshall, even though it's a newer model. Sounds really good even with cleans. And you can get a nice growl out of it with the gain on the actual amp. But if you don't want to do that, and you want to get it at lower volumes, you can put a pedal in front of it and it sounds fantastic. That's because it has a good clean to start off with. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to get a decent clean out of it.
Yeah, I'm all over the place when I play.
Hmm.
So I could play go from Nancy Sinatra to Green Day, and so I do like a clean sound, but it's nice, I just do a nice little quick, and then a couple of taps of the button, and you go, and
You have
back off. You go to the AC
you have your
130.
crunch, yeah, you have everything you need.
I want my cleans to sound like bells almost. That's what I like about the neck pickup on a Telecaster.
Well, if you like that, then definitely like you should experiment with Vox style guitars because those are known for having really nice cleans as well. So maybe get a small the smaller AC 15s, or they have
Mm.
not an AC 30, but they have the newer models that are like less lower wattage.
Yeah, I saw this little baby one they had that was like it was like an amp and a cab, but they were both smaller than your regular amp and cab.
Yep, yep.
Just such a cool looking set.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And to be honest with you, today with all the stuff that's coming out in terms of multi effects units and stuff, they're getting so good. Like even pretty inexpensive ones nowadays, they have some really nice sounds in them. So you don't necessarily. A lot of people are not buying amps anymore because they're just playing at home, and then a multi effects unit can do so much
Hmm.
beyond giving you a whole bunch of cabinets and built-in effects. Like I was saying earlier, you can have like drum machines and loopers and all kinds of stuff. You can use that as an interface if you record. So like people are like, well, for a couple $100 I can get that, as opposed to spending $1,000 on an amplifier that does one thing. You know, it's a
Yeah,
tough.
the thing that got me into um, uh, the thing that got me into the emulators was this Vailton GP100. Those are their like first multi effects unit, and it's just one volume pedal and two foot switches, and I had it set up to do like Jimi Hendrix. I had a JTM 45 with a fuzz face in front of it and a Univibe after that, and it sounds really good. But then you could also have like this nice Fender black face and sound totally jazzy. And for figuring out what you like, it's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, you can make slightly more informed decision if you do decide to go out and buy something, which in the end I didn't. But it just gives you so much variety. It's so much fun.
I gotta say, like we're living in glorious times if you're a musician or a guitarist because there's so much available to you. And I don't know if you saw the episode where I had Thomas from THU Overloud.
Hmm.
He was on, and I was playing that software, and it blew my socks off because it's really, really well designed. Back in the day, I had tried a couple of other software packages. This was many years back, but they were so heavy in terms of just resources on your computer that you would have a lot of latency and it wouldn't feel right. Now, the way at least they're doing it with THU Overloud, it's very light in terms of resources that you need on your computer. So you don't need a super computer to be able to run it, and
Yeah,
the effects are really convincing. The type of amplifiers that they offer you are fantastic, and I was blown away by the fact that you can even like choose the bias on your tubes and put the microphone in certain places and choose the speaker type and all kinds of stuff.
where the
It's
where the where the mic is relative to the speaker cone.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's pretty amazing. Well, his thing was that he relied the really heavy processing, the analog to digital conversion, and then the conversion back from digital to analog, he relied on the computer hardware for that,
Right.
so that he just has to do processing on that digitized signal already.
Correct.
So that probably helps him keep it pretty lightweight.
It does, because he was saying like you could run this off of even an iPad, for example, and playing that through my computer, and I have like two monitors set up here in stereo, really nice. It sounds glorious. I play it in my studio, and I'm like, wow, like it's very very convincing. So it's like at the end of the day, I'm spending more time playing the software than the actual amps behind me because you know
Sure.
I can play with headphones. I can go right into my software to record. No cables and routing and all that kind of stuff. Excessive noise. So it's like
Uh,
we're being spoiled.
we are spoiled. I hope it's not isolating us too much either. Like you remember when you wanted to go play with a drummer and a bassist, you
Yep.
had to go find a drummer and a
Yep.
bassist and
Yep.
go
Yep.
play somewhere. Now I can program my own drums.
Exactly.
I can program my own bass, and I can just, if I just wanted to just be by myself for the rest of my life, I could do
You
that.
can. Well,
I don't, but I wanna get stretched a little bit more.
yeah.
So that's, I think you get that more playing with other people. So now I'm starting to look for other people to play with. I found
Mm.
a nice ukulele group here in San Diego
That's cool.
that they meet up around town, and there's only two of us that bring guitars. Uh, but I still get to play with other people, and have to like catch up and stuff. It's fun.
Well, that's the only way you're going to get better is playing with other people. But if you're trying to, like, if you want to record your own stuff or maybe put down your ideas, it's so much easier nowadays. I remember struggling with that when I was a teenager, and you had to go out and get a Tascam or a Fostex, which was 4 tracks
Yep.
maximum tape, flip it over and bounce the tracks, and if you made a mistake, you're stuck with it. I mean, now you can fix everything practically. You can get drums that are generated by the software that sound very
Yeah.
very convincing, and put all the effects on the drums as well, and really focus on how to master the sound, how to mix the sound, and all that kind of stuff. So you can do a heck of a lot. I'm very happy that we've gotten to the stage where it doesn't take $6 million worth of equipment to be able to do that now. It's like all you need is a laptop, some decent software, and an interface, and you're almost there.
Yeah, I remember when the 808 was kind of a new thing, the Roland 808, and it was crazy expensive. I just borrowed it from off one of my brother's friends, brought it to the house, and I got to programming on it, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was an amazing thing. Now I've got that on my phone, like
Exactly.
easily.
Exactly. I know. It's crazy. Like at one point, I remember being like at the cusp of, the software, the hardware were still being sold where you can buy these like 16 track recorders that were recording to SD cards or little hard drives, but the software had already come in, Pro Tools, Cakewalk, all
Yeah,
these,
Cuban.
yeah, all Cubase and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So I was already using the software on the computer. Then I said to myself, it would be good to handy to have like a little portable 16 track or 8 track recorder. If I go to a rehearsal and I want to record the band, we can do something, and I can just take this with me. So I ended up buying one, and then it dawned on me right then and there, like, okay, we're not in Kansas anymore, because when you make a mistake now on your computer, you just highlight that little portion, you just
Mm.
record the track over, you punch in, it's fixed, nobody knows it was even there. With these, recorders that are SD card based or hard drive based, you can't really do that. It's not as easy. You can still do it, but it's there's a lot more work involved. So I'm like, who wants to do that anymore? Like, nobody
I've
wants to do that anymore.
Yeah, I've done punching in on analog tape.
Yeah, me
The,
too.
the the studio I was in, I can't remember if it was half inch or 1 inch, but
Uh-huh.
I've done punching in, and it's so difficult
Yeah.
because you're not in the flow.
No,
You're just waiting for like 2, 3 notes,
that's right.
maybe half a second,
That's right.
and I had a difficult time. I would prefer just doing the whole thing over again.
Timing is everything.
Yep.
um, Somebody says that. He says, somebody was saying you're both in Quebec? Question mark. Will I be charged a tariff for this episode? No
So I'm in the
tariffs.
States.
Yeah, that's
I'm
it.
I'm from Quebec, but I'm living in the United States.
That's
So
right. That's
if
right.
you're in the States, there's no tariff from. I know there's no problem from my side.
Yeah, we're not charging any tariffs today. It's all good. Have you seen any on your side, David? Anything change in terms of like pricing on guitars and all that kind of stuff that you've noticed because of tariffs specifically? Like, have you tried ordering something from outside of the states, and how's that?
I I haven't tried ordering anything outside the States. I've been kind of keeping track of, like, the debut series that Squire sells on Amazon, right? When it started off, it was 119 for any of the ones that you wanted. Now it's definitely higher.
Mhm,
The Sonic range, which replaced the Bullet range, is was everything was at 200. Now it's at 230.
mhm,
So prices for sure have been going up.
mhm. Well, it's unfortunate, but I think again, I don't know what percentage is due to tariffs and what percentage is just due to inflation. But
Yeah,
um, I I haven't really purchased. The last guitar I purchased was Charvel, but I think that was before the tariffs actually kicked in. So I don't know. I don't know if how much pricing is changed. I know the Gibson stuff always is more expensive. It seems every time I look at it, it's more expensive.
yeah.
Um, but I don't know if that's just a trend because everything is becoming so expensive. It's getting to the point where at least here now you can't really buy even a Les Paul standard. I think is like over 3,500 maybe
Mm.
around there. It's over 3,000 for sure. I don't know exactly how much more it is now. So I tend to buy used because you know you get better deals, and I know what I'm looking at most of the time, so I'm not like afraid of buying a guitar that's in used condition.
I've been enjoying just shopping used lately, actually, because you can go into the smaller stores, and you'll see a lot of used stuff, and the used stuff will be a huge variety,
Yeah,
which you may not always get in some of the kind of the bigger chain stores.
yeah, exactly.
And those are always fun to try.
Yeah, I noticed that. Well, at least here, the big chains that we have, Long and McQuaid, they're kind of taking over all of the other uh, stores that are kind of stumbling.
Did
Eventually,
you did you guys have Steve's Music in
yeah,
Montreal?
yeah, we
Yeah,
did we did we had more than one actually. There used to be one
yeah.
downtown. That was the big one. That was there for I don't know how long, but that closed down. Steve still exists, but it's not the same anymore. They kind of like scaled it down tremendously. There's still
Hmm.
one downtown. The old one was on Saint Antoine. The new one is I think on Saint Catherine Street. But I've been in there a couple of times. It's not the same feel at all. Not the same vibe. The fun thing about Steve's, if ever you've been there, you used to go in and it was like basically a block long, right? So you from inside the store, it was like a bunch of stores connected. So one section would be guitar, the other section would be like
Mm.
acoustics, drums, pianos, drums, all that kind of stuff. So it
I
was
went
always
to the
fun.
one in I went to the one in I was born in Montreal but grew up in Ottawa. So I went to the one in Ottawa, which was
Okay,
quite small.
okay.
But yeah, those guys were mean.
They
Those
were,
guys.
they were
Sorry.
mean.
Although I was a teenager at the time, so
Okay.
maybe they didn't want to humor just another teenager
Ah,
after a bunch of stuff. But
they usually figured out that teenagers they don't have money. They're just here to like
yeah.
play the stuff. But they always had a really nice selection of guitars. I
Oh,
remember
for
they
sure.
had they
Yeah.
had everything. I remember back in the day they had like even when the Roland guitar synth had come out. I don't know if you remember that one. When
Mhm.
Steve Stevens used to play that one. They had that one. They had a really nice selection of Charvel guitars, but they were the American versions. Now they're quite collectible if you could find an American version, but they had them at the time. A lot of really great Fender guitars, all types of different versions, not just Strats. When you go to Long and McQuaid, it's cookie cutter now. You get in there
Mm.
and it's like they have mostly the Gibsons, but even the Gibsons, they don't have like the nice Gibsons. I find it's like they're not like high end. They're kind of like the production models, nothing out of the ordinary. So it's a little boring when I go there.
It's Fender's more guilty of this than Gibson, I think, but there's so many levels, and they keep coming out with these new models that fit in between two other ones that they previously released. It's getting a little crazy.
I think they do that on purpose to confuse people. Even
I
with
think
the
that
the changing of the names now, like they had the standard series, the professional series. Now they changed that around, and the standard became what the lower end version was,
yeah,
and
and now they have Pro 2 Vintage.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I think they're just trying to, regardless of what someone wants to spend when they walk into a store, they want to have something that will meet
yep,
exactly that.
yep. I agree with you. I agree with you. And the funny thing is, I've noticed at least. Like sometimes when they make some errors, like they had I have two of these guitars. They're the Squire Contemporary guitars.
Hmm.
They were out. They still have them, but this model, my specific model, I don't see it very much anymore. So they have the Squire Contemporary models, and basically they're it's just a Squire, but it has two humbuckers, and instead of having a volume tone, it's just volume and tone and a three-way switch. So it's very similar to a Charvel because it's basically the bones of a Charvel, really. Just as a Squire on it. And I have two. I bought two of these used because they were floating around at the time. A red one and a sort of like a candy apple sparkle red and sort of a pearl
Hmm.
white version. And they're great guitars. And I bought them used for like I don't even think I paid. They were like maybe $200, something like that. Very very inexpensive guitars. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, how come they're making this? Because like it's essentially a Charvel, and Fender owns Charvel, and I'm like, they would be cannibalizing their own market, right? Because it's the same guitar, a lot cheaper.
Hmm.
And shortly after, they stopped making them. So now they still have the contemporary models, but it's the one with the big headstock
Oh, that big
and
70s headstock?
yeah, the big
Yeah.
70s has on. They have like humbuckers in it, but it doesn't look the same, and it's not as nice, I think. But the ones like I have, they stopped making them. You can't get.
Are the are the are the Charvel necks flatter?
In the back, you mean like the radius in the
Oh,
back?
the radius on the fingerboard.
They have well, the one that I have, the one that I bought is compound radius. So it's a little rounder up
Okay,
here in the cording, and then it gets a little flatter at the bottom. Oh, I'm hearing a bell here. Is that some?
that was me. That was
Oh,
I got a report on the score. It's 3-0 for Toronto.
3-0. Yeah, somebody else just mentioned that too. Bottom of the third, 3-0. Oh, there's going to be a lot of third run homers. Well, it's not over till the fat lady sings though, so anything can happen, right?
I still remember where I was in '92 when they won the first time. I was like at a McDonald's in between Kingston and Ottawa. And
Well,
someone ran in from the parking lot. Toronto won.
yeah, yeah. If they do win, it's gonna be chaos, I think.
Oh
But they
yeah,
but they deserve it. It's
yeah,
funny. It's
yeah.
funny.
We Canadians really know how to flip cars over.
Yeah,
Good
we
news
get
or bad.
correct. Any excuse to flip over a car is always a good excuse. And if it's a police car, even better. Um, it's funny because I saw a little post earlier this week. There was somebody that had posted a photo of Geddy Lee at one of the Blue Jays games. He was sitting with Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They were sitting
Oh,
side by side, and they were at a Dodgers game. And whoever took the picture said that he said that Chad and Getty were they stayed until about the 17th inning, and they were about 20 seats up behind home plate, and apparently they were bringing having their water and whatever, not even any beer or anything like that, no nachos, nothing, just water, and he said that most people didn't seem to recognize Getty, Geddy Lee, but several fans asked for photos with Chad. There were even two little girls sent over by their dads to ask him to sign baseballs. And he could tell they had no clue who he was.
I figured Geddy Lee would be the more recognizable one out of that pair.
Well, maybe in the States less so, but if it was, if they were in Toronto for sure, he would have been recognized. He's a big baseball fan. Geddy Lee's a huge baseball fan, by the way. So,
I've met tons of Americans who are bigger Rush fans than me.
oh yeah, I like Rush. I'm not gonna say they're my all-time favorite band, but as a Canadian, I'm proud of what they've done, and I've been to a few of their
Oh,
concerts.
for sure. You can't underestimate the effect they've had. I'm just me personally. I'm not so much into that Wizards, kind of stuff.
Yeah, I get you.
Um, at the time, I was listening to a lot of Peter Gabriel, a lot of old Genesis, Yes, that kind of stuff. I guess more the progressive stuff.
Yeah, that was a whole different time. I love. I've been to a couple of Peter Gabriel concerts, and it was fantastic, mind blowing. Great musicians, great show. Very, he knows how to put on a show. He's very artistic when it comes to
Yeah. Well,
theatrics.
he hires stage directors. One of the
Yeah,
I can't remember which tour it was. I think it was the one after us. He hired this French Canadian
yeah,
director
yeah. I remember.
to, to direct the stage show. He
Yeah,
was he was he was also big in improv at the time, um, and that was with the phone booth in the middle of the stage,
yeah.
and then the big tree comes out, and then we
That
were probably at the same show. I was at that show.
that was the
Montreal.
concert I went to. I think was it the Soul concert, or I remember
With the big tree in the phone booth, it was the us,
us.
the
Okay,
one
yeah,
the one
yeah.
right
That's
after.
right, right, right. That's and he would when he was singing the song "Talk to Me," he would be in
Yeah,
the
he was
phone
singing into the
booth,
receiver. Yeah, yeah,
and then he would have there would be like a little
conveyor.
conveyor belt, and he would be pulling the cord of the phone as he was going down the
It's so
stage, and
dramatic, but it's
yeah,
so
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it was pretty cool. And I remember he had the headset with the camera on the like facing his face, which was being projected
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
on the screen, and you got like his face view and all that kind of stuff. It was
Yeah,
pretty
that
cool.
yeah, that was his divorce album. So that's the
Ah,
reason why that one was a little bit heavier.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
And the musicians were fantastic. The bass player playing with the drumsticks on his fingers.
Oh yeah, well 2011
Yeah, he's
he's-
great.
he did King Crimson,
Yep.
um, and I remember there was this guy Gowan
Mm-hmm.
who was from like Toronto or something.
Yep.
He hired a lot of the guys from Peter Gabriel's band to play on his second album,
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
the one with Criminal Mind,
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and so yeah, Tony Levin was the bass player on that one.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, Gowan. Yeah,
Gary Potter was
that
there.
goes way back. He was very. We were very popular in Montreal and at the
Yeah,
time. And I think he's playing with someone else now. He's playing keyboards. I forget what the name of the band, but
he's
another.
he's a graduate of the Royal Conservatory. That
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know that,
yeah. So
but
to any Americans in the audience, Canada has these rules. You have to have a certain amount of media content that is created by Canadians. We call it
mm-hmm,
CanCon.
mm-hmm,
So you always get a bit of you always have a shot at making it.
right.
But going into the States, there's nothing like that. So the
There's no.
chances that you make it are pretty small. So Gowan tried it, 5440 tried
That's
it,
right.
but never quite. It took Celine Dion.
Yeah, it took her to kind of break them all. But I think as far as Canadian bands go, I mean, I don't even know. Like the Tragically Hip, I don't know. Did they have any? Were they getting any airplay in the States? Probably not, right? So they were huge in
They
they're huge in
I
Canada, but not.
I saw them here in San Diego in 98 or 99, and it was pretty much every Canadian living in Southern California that was at that show. Everyone was
Yeah,
wearing hockey jerseys. Great vibe,
I believe it.
great vibe. But I don't think it was still a fairly small club that I saw them in, so
Yeah.
I don't think they got much play. Unfortunately, they were one of my favorites too.
Yeah, it's funny. Hey, it's like Mean Gene says the Guess Who. Yeah, maybe the Guess Who were the only ones who actually maybe got airplay in the states back in the day. But
They did well. Bachman Turner Overdrive. They got some play. But yeah, not a lot of
well,
bands.
BTO is Guess Who and BTO is like a spin-off, right? It's the same.
Are they?
Well, yeah, back then,
Oh,
I believe there was if you watch, there's a great documentary where you have Randy Bachman talking about all the Guess Who songs and the story behind the songs. An amazing documentary. It's not really a documentary because he's playing on stage. It's actually like a concert, but he's telling the stories between the songs of how the
ah,
song came to be. I don't know if you saw that one.
yeah.
Fantastic. You should definitely like. I think it was on. It might not be on Netflix. It might be on Prime or something like that. But look it up. See if you can find it. It's fantastic because he plays all the songs, but he also tells the story of how that song came to be. And it's crazy when you. I love like knowing where the songs originated from. And he tells a
Mm.
story like this. I was waiting for a friend, and two girls were in a some kind of diner, and somebody came up to me and said something, and that triggered that line in that particular song or whatever. um, you know uh, I just love that. I geek over that stuff. I like the behind the scenes
I
stories.
like hearing about the process, and that's one of the amazing things about YouTube. Of course, you can get almost any artist you want. But yeah, I remember Paul Simon on a talk show like the Tonight Show or something like that, explaining how he wrote "Bridge Over Troubled Water," and he's like, "Oh, and we got some blues, and I really like this gospel sound," and he'd play this little lick, and it was like, "Oh my God, this guy just puts it all together." Like that's the process that really interests me.
Yeah, me too. I love that. I love the where they get the creative, that little seed of creativity that turns into that famous song. Like now there's a lot of information on that, so it's fun to be able to read and look up your favorite songs and say like how did they come to
Yeah.
be. So I don't know if you've ever tried writing your own music, David. It's
Oh yeah,
it's it's something else.
it is something else. So with music I'm fine. With lyrics, don't even let me try. Like I tried it once in my band, and they laughed at me so hard for so long because what I wrote was so bad.
Oh yeah,
But they always liked the music that I did,
but
and
yeah.
it's I'm still like that today. I'll listen to a song like 100 times
Uh-huh.
before I even listen to what the words are saying. Like I'll like the song for like 6 months, and I'll be like, oh my God, these lyrics are really depressing. Like
Yeah, I
I
never
don't even realize.
realized. Yeah,
I listen to the music first for a long time, and then I listen to the words. And also, I'm no good with words.
it's hard. It's really hard because like, I agree with you. Sometimes I listen to some songs that I hear over and over again. Like even like I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan. I like Led Zeppelin, and I hardly ever listen to the lyrics. It's like the lyrics to me are secondary almost. So I'm like, what is he singing in this song? Like, let me print out the words and see what he's actually saying.
Oh
And
yeah.
most of the time it's gibberish anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, with Led Zeppelin, I noticed. So I started listening to like Muddy Waters a little while ago, and I can't remember the title of the song, but at some point, Muddy Waters goes way down inside, and I was
Yeah,
like, huh.
yeah. There's more than one. it's
Yeah.
it's funny. I don't have it anymore. I have a bunch of CDs. I still have them, and maybe I still have that CD somewhere. But I had bought I think it was a double CD, and it was a bunch of old blues songs that were uh, to one degree or another part of those songs were used in Led Zeppelin songs. So it's all the songs where
Yep.
Led Zeppelin ripped off parts of the songs, but the original songs. So there was a whole bunch, enough to fill in a double CD. Okay, and I'm like, wow. So that's like where they get all these lines, I can't quit you, baby, and all these, different
Yep.
uh, all these little blues, little nuances that they basically stole, and
Well,
they all
yeah,
came
the
from somewhere, right?
all this those '60s British guys really liked the '30s, Delta blues, Mississippi
Yeah,
blues.
yeah.
So it's not surprising. And today, and then we had, of course, we had sampling like in the mid '90s, late '90s. That was like a Wild West for a long time. Now you
Mm-hmm.
have to pay for the rights, but now there's, I forget what it's called, but it's kind of, you're not covering a song.
Mm-hmm.
You're just grabbing the chorus,
Mm-hmm.
but you come up with your own. The rest of it is your own, but you
Right.
just grab this chorus tune from this one famous song. Interpolation, I think it's called.
Something like that. Yeah.
But now you've got that on top of it. Like,
Yeah.
I remember the first time my kids like, oh yeah, I just heard this new song, and I'm like, no, I know that song. That's like from when I was a kid. They're like, no, this is brand new.
No.
No, you wouldn't know this one.
Yeah. 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 A lot of them. Yeah, for sure. And uh, I was just talking about that, I think, last weekend or something on the show, where I just realized, not just recently, that uh, the drums on a Van Halen song is basically the intro drums to a
Tone
uh,
Loc.
Tone Loc. Yeah, I didn't. I just recently realized that. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. It's like that. That's, I know that. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. So they were doing it. I don't know if they ever got paid for it or not, but
Yeah,
yeah, they
I had that
definitely.
album.
Yeah. Did you
I
realize?
had that.
Did you realize it right away?
Not at the time.
Okay.
It took me a long time. Um, but yeah, I had that Tone Loc. I had the cassette,
Mm-hmm.
and I quite enjoyed it. I went through a hip hop phase like a lot of people, our age, um, and like Young MC wrote a couple songs on that album as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
It was pretty good, but Beastie Boys sample like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, Ballroom Blitz by Sweet was in Hey Ladies. They didn't pay for any of it. In fact, it was like those albums that really caused people to like start suing for
Right.
rights.
Right. I had a really good Beastie Boys record that was kind of like acid jazz inspired. I don't remember the title of it. I haven't listened to that in so long, but it was fantastic. It was like I don't know if you ever listened to acid jazz, but it's like really really groovy and
Mm.
out there jazz and really great riffs and great
Yeah,
hooks and they had an album, and that's, I think, the only album that I really liked of the Beastie Boys because it was way out there. And it was
yeah.
really.
Check Your Head had them playing instruments way more.
Hmm.
So they had some jazzy tunes in there,
Yeah.
and they kept inserting them into the different records. I like that a lot when they started playing their own instruments.
I'm trying to remember the title of the album. Let me see if I can figure this one out. Uh, it probably wasn't popular because maybe their followers were not really into that kind of thing. But I'm just trying to see if I can find their album here.
My wife was a huge Beastie Boy fan growing up, so she probably
She
has it.
probably would know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I can't find it right now, but it doesn't matter.
Was it the one with Boom and Granny?
I don't even remember.
I remember there was one album where they have it's like it's a Spanish name. It's something Oglio or Aglio,
It could be,
and I remember that one had a lot of like live instrument
but this
tracks
was
on it.
completely like jazz. It was all jazz,
Yeah,
A to Z. So Casey Lee says, I saw BTO, Cheap Trick, and REO Speedwagon for free in 1992.
oh
All three bands were past the height of their popularity, but all three were still amazing. Because when we were talking
sure.
about bands like somebody mentioned like Canadian bands, MFN mentions
Mm.
Cowboy Junkies. I remember they were big for like 15 minutes back in the
Yeah,
80s. Triumph, obviously, but I don't know if even Triumph, I don't know if they had a big following in the States.
Sarah McLachlan got big here.
Yeah.
Um,
Sarah McLaughlin and who else? The other female singer.
The country one, right? The one from Timmins.
Well, yeah, there's the country one, and there's the other one. You ought to know from what's her name,
Oh, Alanis.
Lannis. So
Yeah,
she
yeah.
probably was pretty big
Well,
in the states.
I took a music class with her
Really?
when I was a teenager. Yeah. Um, her parents gave her all the lessons. She was basically brought up to be a star.
Oh, they were kind of
Stage
sort of
parents, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They were
Like,
grooming her to be an artist.
and she was on You Can't Do That on Television,
I remember
and
that
then
show. I remember that show.
and then she had the pop album. But then when she came out with Jagged Little Pill, it's just a story I heard that like Madonna bought the rights to her pop stuff so she could sit on it
Oh, really?
and not play it because she was trying to, come off as edgy,
Uh huh.
which worked.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It's funny you mentioned that show. You can't do that on TV. I remember that show. That was a Toronto show, wasn't it? It wasn't
that was an Ottawa show.
Ottawa. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember seeing. He must have been like 13, maybe 14. Jeff Healy was actually on that show.
Oh, no kidding.
If you go back and watch some of, I don't know if they're still available on YouTube, but they actually had an episode where they were talking to Jeff Healy, and he was like a teenager, and they were specifically talking about the fact that there's this teenager that can play the guitar extremely well, and he's blind and all this kind of stuff, and he was already playing really, really well back then, and
My
they were asking him like he was like, how do you learn the songs, like he goes, oh, I have a record collection, and he was like, just put on the records and I listen to them and I try and copy them. And they're like, how do you know like which record is which record, and they're like, well, because they all feel different, so he open, he pulls a record out of the sleeve and he feels it, and he goes, this one's like a BB King record, and I can tell this is an Albert
holy
King record.
cow.
You can tell by the grooves and the feel of the album. It's
My band was the house band on the Tom Green show for a couple of episodes
oh, really?
when Tom Green was still on Access Cable before he went to MTV.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
I wonder how many people know what we're talking about right now. You had to be a certain
Probably
age.
not that many. Yeah.
Oh well. Shania Twain is who we were talking about.
Shania
Shania
Twain.
Twain. Yeah. But she's still doing it. I think she's still
Yep.
she's having a comeback tour, or I don't know if it's the last hurrah or something. But
Devo's going back out on tour.
there's a lot of bands actually that have announced going back again now, and I'm surprised actually. There's quite a few. There's I had a list of a couple of bands I wanted to bring up. Uh, well, first of all, I don't know if you're a Stray Cats fan or not, but Brian
Yeah,
Setzer,
they just canceled the
yeah,
the remainder of their tour.
yeah,
That's too bad.
yeah, it's too bad because he's an amazing guitarist, and I don't know exactly what his illness is, but I know I don't know if it's like arthritis or something like that, but apparently it's like nerve related or something.
Yeah, I remember before they went on tour, he had problems with his hands,
Yeah,
and then he says I got better, and then they went on tour again, and
right.
now now they're saying they have to cancel because of illness. He didn't
Yeah,
say if it was his hands again,
yeah,
but
he did actually. I saw an article, and he talked about it. He's like, he thought he'd be able to do it, but at the end of the day, he's like, whenever it's like trying to tie your shoes with mittens on. When I play, I can't. He couldn't do it. So unfortunately, I think he realized it was just too much. So
yeah, I mean, there's he wasn't a super popular guy, but it was a guy that I liked a lot. Was Matthew Sweet.
hmm
He had a stroke while he was on tour,
I know.
and he had to stop because of that. That's too bad.
There's so many people that unfortunately they're people that we liked when we were younger and that are just falling apart right now. It's like
Well, the Monkees kept touring for like a long time. I saw Tom Jones in like 2000
oh
in Las
really?
Vegas. Yeah, although that guy was top notch,
Tom Jones,
unbelievable.
Tom Jones was always he was always cool. I don't know. He even though it was one of those things, he was still doing it. He was still.
He was still doing it. The women were still throwing their underwear at him up on stage. Although instead of being like this, it
Yeah,
was kind of like this. But yeah, he still had it, and his voice was still amazing.
yeah, he's good. I like Tom Jones. He seems like a cool guy. Um, Somebody's asking a couple questions here. NFM says, Tony, going back to my earlier note, you have an April wine amp, correct? Yes. It was an amp that I got from Brian Greenway, NFM. I mentioned it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's the Marshall. Actually, not that guy. The one behind me. I don't know if, I'm probably in the way here, but that guy. The
Is that a
the
four?
there's
The
a
cabinet's a 412.
yeah, the cabinets. That's a 412. That's not the cabinet I got with the amp. It's the amp head that I got. So that's so there's the Studio Classic and the Studio Vintage. So the Studio Vintage is the more of the Plexi. Studio Classic is more the JCM 800. So that amp comes with another cabinet, which is a 2x12, which you can't really see. It's on this side, but I just put it over there. That's my 4x12 that I usually use. It's an older cabinet that I had for a while. But I don't know why you're asking. You was asking a couple of times. I don't know if you had a question about it or something. But going back to bands that are going back on tour, there's Rush, right? They're going back on tour. I heard Twisted Sisters going back on tour. Don't ask me why, but they are. They waited a long time to go back on tour. They might be
Yeah.
past
I wonder if he still has his teeth sharpened into
I
fangs.
don't know, but I mean, maybe past their best before date. I don't know, but maybe they still have people that wanna go see them. The Guess Who apparently are also going back. Poison, I heard they're getting back together. Bon Jovi is finally getting back together after 4 years of being on hiatus because of his voice issues. He had the
Huh.
vocal cord problems. At the end of the last tour, you can clearly see he wasn't able to do it anymore. And but I think they're going back out. I'm wondering if Phil X will join them again, because Phil X was the guitarist for Bon Jovi there for the last little while. Another Canadian. I really like Phil X. He's really
Phil X is Canadian?
yep, he's from Toronto.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, he's an amazing guitarist, amazing guy.
Yeah.
And then I think the Eagles, I think, are still doing something. I don't know if they're still at the Sphere. There's a bunch of bands playing in Vegas. I think there's going to be Styx playing in Vegas, Eagles, Chicago. I don't know if you remember Tesla, the
Yep.
band Tesla. They also had a run at the House of Blues in Vegas. And Def Leppard is also going to be at Caesar's Palace as well, and Cyndi Lauper too, and Megadeth. So I think a lot of people are running out of cash. They're coming out of retirement. They're like, yeah, we need money. We got to go back on tour.
After seeing, um, there's this podcast I listen to called Rock on Tours with like couple of British guys, and they have a lot of bands from like the 80s and the 90s on there, and it's just like there's a big demand right now. So if someone's like, "Oh, why don't you travel around for 6 months and we'll give you this?" I'd say yes for sure.
Well, I mean, if they make it cozy for you, like if you're going to be in Vegas and you're playing the same place all the time, it's less wear and tear, right?
Yeah.
Having to be on the road all the time. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that Journey also apparently that they're going to be doing shows, and rumor has it that the original singer is going to be back. So if that's true, I think a lot of Journey fans are going to be super happy, because for a while they had the stand-in fellow that they found off of YouTube that sounded a lot like the original singer. But now the original singer never, like, always said he wasn't going to come back, and he was over, like he couldn't do it anymore or whatever. But apparently things are changing because I think he's going to do one last tour.
It's got to be tough to replace people and compete with like 30 years of nostalgia in people's
Yeah,
ears.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, Rush, I think, will pull it off. From what I've heard of their new drummer's drumming, she's not gonna be Neil Peart. She's not gonna try to be,
No,
but she's still very very good.
I'm sure they'll be able to do it.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about Rush. I think they're going to be, and even if they're, if they're a little bit more sloppy or whatever, I think people are just going to be happy to finally see
it'll
them
be
on
fine.
stage again because I think everybody thought that was it. No, no more Rush. They're finished. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of fans out there. They'll be fine. So, anyways, a lot of good stuff to look forward to. I mean, if you're our age and those are the bands that you grew up with, I'm gonna be in Vegas in February. Maybe I'll see if I can catch Def Leppard while I'm there. Never saw Def Leppard at all. They're gonna be there, so that could be an interesting show
No,
to
I never
catch.
saw Def. I had tons of friends that were like, Def Leppard, Scorpions, all those guys. I never got into the hard. At that time, I didn't get into the harder stuff.
Yeah, me neither.
I was like Talking Heads and the Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel and Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, I like Peter Gabriel. Back in high school, Def Leppard wasn't one of my bands. I wasn't into Def Leppard at all. I only got into them after the fact. But now I'd probably go see them just for for just for giggles, just to see.
I saw Oasis, and shout out to the new Gibson Les Paul with the two metal P90s on it that is one of the brothers' signatures. But yeah, that Oasis show was amazing.
I've never seen Oasis
It was
live.
my first time.
Yeah, if you're a Beatles fan, I can see where there's a connection between the
Yeah,
Beatles and Oasis and all that kind of stuff. There's definitely influences there. Uh, but I gotta say, you know, Gibson jumps on it, man. Whenever there's an opportunity to put out a new model that's has some sales potential, they'll do it. They didn't waste any
yeah.
time.
I remember when they started looking for that Back to the Future guitar
Yep.
uh, on some of the channels. It was like they're gearing up for a re-release.
Oh
I
yeah.
guarantee you,
Oh
they're gearing up for a
yeah.
re-release. Sure enough,
Oh yeah. Yeah yeah.
Gibson and Epiphone.
I had said it too. I'm like, yeah, if they're looking for it, there's a reason. They're building up, the hype around it. Um, I don't know how many people will actually buy one, but hey, if you got the money, it makes you
I think
happy.
the Gibson one is sold out already.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Uh, the Epiphone, I think, is selling for higher than cost. On they got the first ones got snatched up, and
For
and
sure.
now people are reselling them
Yeah,
like Reverb and eBay, and they're asking for a premium. But
I know. I know. It's
it just
crazy.
seems like a 335 to me. I mean,
I know, but that's the crazy thing, and I mentioned it too. It's like people I think they're getting they're buying into the hype because it's not an old guitar, right? It's a production model, but
yeah,
it's like they're thinking they're getting a vintage guitar, but they're not. So it's like, why are you spending all that money on a? It's basically a replica, right? I get
yeah.
the
You
whole,
can buy a 335 like just
yeah,
a 335, and it's
yeah,
pretty much the same thing,
yeah. Well, yeah,
minus some of the stickers.
yeah. I mean, it's not, yeah, but you're not going to be paying that kind of cash. Recently, I also saw an interesting article, not an article, but a listing on Reverb. I don't know if you caught this, David, but earlier this week I saw that there's somebody on Reverb's trying to sell Jeff Beck's touring rig, which includes the Fender JB Stratocaster and a small pedal board case. There's even the baby powder talcum in the case that Jeff used to always use to keep his hands from sweating, and you can snag it up for only $65,742.71. And you also have to pay shipping, another $475 for shipping. So if you're a Jeff Beck fan, here I'll actually share my
Well,
screen.
if you're, I don't know if he has any Jeff Beck, but the guy who owned the Indianapolis Colts, he was a guitar collector.
Yes.
Uh, Isa, right?
Yes.
He passed away recently. That collection is going up on auction again.
Oh,
So
really?
if you missed your chance at getting the Smells Like Teen Spirit guitar or one of David Gilmour's Blackies,
You can get it
or
now?
if you missed out on getting Eric Clapton's Fool guitar,
Yeah.
you're gonna get another chance.
Wonderful. I wonder how much is he gonna give us a discount? I don't think so.
That'd be nice. But that Smells Like Teen Spirit guitar, he paid 4.5 million for that
Yeah,
one.
I know. I know.
To this, I think that's still the most expensive electric guitar ever sold.
Isn't it lovely to have that kind of cash just floating around? Uh,
All you have to do is be an NFL owner. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So I'm just showing. I'm sharing my screen here. I don't know if you guys can see the photo of the guitar and the pedal board. But what's surprising to me is that the pedal board, okay, it comes with the guitar, it comes with a case, original carry case, and in the case you can see the pedals that he had. Nothing too fancy, to be honest. From what I can see here, there's an Echoplex, there's an Archer drive pedal,
Hmm.
there's a, what is this? A fuzz pedal. It looks like it's a super badass Variac fuzz from MXR, and a wah pedal. That's pretty much it.
Oh, looks like he was a pretty pragmatic guy.
He didn't need much. So everything you can pretty much buy like anywhere. And it's funny, in this picture you see the Johnson baby talcum bottle in the case. MXR ISO brick was his power supply, from what I can see here, and
Huh.
that's pretty much it. Got
Angus
cables.
Angus Young Angus Young doesn't even have a pedal board.
He goes right in.
Goes straight into the amps.
Pretty
The
funny.
the one the one that blew me away was Green Day. Um, for Billy Joe, he's got two big Fenders, and they're both like pretty hard driving. So when he wants a clean sound, he actually bypasses the preamps on those Marshalls and goes to like a cleaner preamp, and then he goes back into the chain in the Marshall.
Hmm. So he's basically just
His
bypassing.
yeah, his normal sound is just super dirty,
Right.
and then when he wants clean, he exits out of those things and goes through a totally different just a preamp. It's not even a pedal; it's just an individual preamp.
There's so many things that are happening behind the scenes in these concerts, and how they're, the rig is set up. And I'm a big fan of the Billy Gibbons sound. I like that sound that he has, and nobody can really tell you how he gets it. And now he's using Magnatone amps, but back in the day he wasn't. He was probably using Fenders, or
Mm.
either Fenders or Marshalls, or a combination of both. But there was so many things that he did back in the day, where they would have ISO cabinets that were in ISO boxes, and there were like at one point they were using Scorpion amplifiers and a whole bunch of different things. So if you want to try and figure out what he was playing, it's almost impossible. But nowadays you can do it all with the Fractal, so it's like you don't even need an amp. You can just go into the front of house and you're
I
done.
remember watching Jimi Hendrix live in like Sweden or Finland or something like that, and it's just his patch cord goes to a Y cable, and each one of the sides of that Y goes into like a 8 by 12 Marshall stack. That was
That's
his
all you
setup for
need.
that show.
That's all you need. Yeah, the tone is in the
Like
fingers.
like who would even do that anymore nowadays? Just split the signal into two, right? Now you'd go into a real powered splitter,
Exactly.
and then from that splitter, then you may go to the amps. But he just had a Y cable.
In those days, things
Baller.
things were simple in those days.
Yeah.
So Jack Collins says, Tony, I have 4 Epiphones and their prices went up a lot, he said. So you're seeing it, Jack, in your end. Um, and then Casey Lee says, my Epiphone Dot Deluxe is close enough to the Back to the Future guitar for me. Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, at the end of the day, I'd rather have cash in my bank account than a replica guitar. That's just me. And Paul says, Peter Gabriel, I met his manager about being a backup guitarist, apparently. So Paul knows the Gabriel folks as well. Interesting. And MFN says 3-1 Toronto now. So they're still in the lead. So that's good.
Oof, exciting.
Well, I think we're gonna start wrapping it up, David. We've been talking for already an hour and 40 minutes. I appreciate the fact that you stuck around all this time, but I think maybe you want to catch the tail end of the baseball game or do whatever it is that you were doing before you came on the show.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll probably go catch the rest of the game.
yeah, it'd be fun to see if they finally do win. What the crowd is like, what the after party is like. I'm curious. But I had a great time talking to you, David. I really appreciate you stopping by, and hopefully it won't be the last time. If again, invite is always open. I'd like to talk with more of the folks that are tuning into the show, so we can get to know each other a little bit better. I think we have a lot in common, so I do appreciate taking time out of your busy day, David.
Oh, I appreciate it a lot, Tony. This has been super fun. Uh, to be able to just talk back and forth, instead of typing some bad joke and then having to follow up with it, so many comments later. So this has been super fun. I hope other people had a good time too. I hope
I
people
hope
that
so
tuned in
too.
had.
I think, like I said, the timing might not have been ideal because my stupid planning, not realizing that the baseball game's on. That's a big no no. But still, the folks did tune in and were. And Mean Gene's reminding me we did had a poll. Yeah, we had a poll, and I didn't get to the poll question. Let me at least get to the show. Talk about the poll question before we log off here. So. I can't log off before talking about that. So let me just put it up here. Where is it? Community. So the poll question basically was where's the poll question? Hmm. Oh, here we go. Okay. So how many people? We got 63 votes. Not too bad. Usually we get more, but since it was only posted about 11 hours ago, it's not so bad. So the poll question for today was: would you rather have one guitar and multiple amps, or one amp and multiple guitars? And you can't have both. It was one or the other. So David, maybe you want to answer that question. What do you think? What do you prefer?
So I do only have one amp and multiple guitars, so you probably have that answer there. But as I was telling Tony before the show, I actually have two full headphone setups. So because I play at home and because I try and be quiet most of the time, that's where I put my money is actually the headphone setups.
And that makes it a lot more flexible and fun too. You have everything at your disposal, and makes it a lot easier for you to play whenever you want. So, but I have to say, if I had to choose, I probably would say, if you have one amp, namely if it's the amp, if you have the amp that you like, that really inspires you to play, then there's really no need to have more than one. I would probably still end up choosing more guitars though, because I do like
Yeah,
to
me
have the flexibility of having more than one guitar. And according to our poll, the overwhelming answer was one amp, but a lineup of guitars for every style. 84% of our viewers said they would prefer that. Only 16% of you said one guitar, but a collection of amps for every tone. Amps are
too.
very expensive, so I don't know if it's easy to get a bunch of amplifiers, but um, I tend to go the other way around. There was a couple
Yeah.
of comments here, so I'm just gonna see what they're saying. Searching for Tone says, I think if I had one really great playing guitar, I'd get more of a kick out of owning a bunch of amps. There again, it all depends, right? If you have a really great amp, then it goes the other way. If you have a really great guitar, then it goes the other way. So it depends, what you have. And somebody else says, I have 30 plus guitars, but only a couple of amps. So he's suffering there.
That's a lot of guitars.
And Shane says, my Vox is fine. Amps are not that sexy. Also, I can always rent a big amp if I need. So he's thinking practical. He's like he'd rather
Yeah.
go with the sexy guitars. So I get that. All right, that's cool. I appreciate your input on that poll.
I mean, even with my Fender Pro Junior, which is a 15-watt amp. Like average time in my house, I can't put it up past 4 anyways, or else I'll start bothering the neighbors.
And I think that's becoming more and more the norm nowadays. Like, how many of us can like, I have some really loud amps behind me, but they haven't been turned on for a while because, again, I can just play through the
Yeah.
fractal and get the same thrill I get out of playing those things at a reasonable volume, and I don't blow up my hearing either. So,
I remember unloading after a show. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, my drummer's house, residential neighborhood. I dropped a crash cymbal
oh,
on the ground right on the edge, and all of a sudden you just
oh,
saw every single light in the whole house
oh.
surrounding just turn on. It's so bad.
Yeah,
Didn't do it on
maybe
purpose, I swear.
not the right time for that. Oh well. All right, David. I'll let you go. I appreciate having you, and hopefully, you got to promise me to come back, and we'll try and
Oh, I'd love to.
set up another event at some point, maybe with a few other people at the same time. We'll see how many we can squeeze in. That would be fun.
Sounds good. Thanks again for having me, Tony, and hi to everybody who's listening in or who did listen in. I hope you had a good time.
All right. Thanks, David. Have a good evening, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. Have a great week, guys. We'll be back next Sunday, and probably at our usual Sunday morning slot. If anything changes, I'll let you guys know. But go out there and enjoy the baseball. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.